Coming up, we find out about the Lynx Academy and meet some prospects.
We have fun, but we work hard and just a high intensity and very competitive.
Catch up with Ryan Petrik for an update so far.
And what we have to do is turn off the scoreboard that's on court 2.
Find out about our stadium manager and the team behind the team. But before all that, it's time to go behind the basket with Laeticia Amihere.
My name is Laeticia Amihere. I'm originally from Mississauga, Canada. This is my first year playing for the Lynx, and I wear number 50. My basketball journey was quite unorthodox. I mean, I started playing soccer just because my parents were from West Africa, so soccer was a big thing. I just grew so tall, and then I was just, I would walk around, people would always ask me if I played basketball, and I was getting tired of answering no. So then one day, I picked up the ball, and that's kind of where my journey started. So I started playing with my national team when I was 15. Actually, the youngest person to be on a national team, and for me, everything went super quickly. So I started playing probably when I was about 13, and then from then on, I caught on pretty quickly. And being able to go to my first Olympics, it was always a dream for me to just be able to do that. But then going on my second Olympics, that was really when I got the full experience. It wasn't a COVID year, so my family was able to watch me play for the first time, and just a great experience for me.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Last year, I was drafted to the Atlanta Dream out of South Carolina, and it was a great experience for me, just being able to go into my second year now, just being able to learn every year, but being able to do that and just being one of the few Canadians to be in the league as well is just a great honor that I wear.
Amihere gets a rebound, up, under, spins, this way, that way, hoop plus the harm.
I'd say I'd played against Australia for a while, just within the national team. They're always like a very well-rounded team, a lot of basketball IQ. They know how to move the ball well. In this league, there's a lot of shooters, like I mentioned before, so just being able to play against and defend that, whereas a lot in the American style of play is a lot of drawing, kick, and drive. It worked out perfectly for me to come here and not have to think twice. A lot of things come naturally just because it's a lot of my brand of basketball as well. I love the game. I love to be able to just grow and grow as a person as well. An experience where a Canadian's able to just go overseas, go to Australia, go to different countries and just learn the culture, embrace it, but also just get better. I was talking to my brother, and this is a dream for me to be able to just wake up, play basketball, go to the beach, and just have that as a day.
Let's find out about the Lynx Academy and meet some future stars.
Bring me red roses in the morning. Baby, like
the purpose of the Academy is to develop young, talented players around Perth, and then also for the Perth Lynx organization to see these players, to connect with them, build relationships with them, and to evaluate them.
I think it's a really great opportunity to train under some really high-level coaches and with some really competitive girls. It's really good.
It's the point in their lives when they're growing the most, right? So if they get the best coaching possible, then that growth is even faster.
The coaching staff are amazing. They really highlight things we wouldn't normally do and really helpful with our confidence, especially playing at the next level.
I think the team atmosphere at the Academy is really good. Everyone's very supportive. We have fun, but we work hard and just a high intensity and very competitive.
It's crucial for these young, talented players to be around other young, talented players because competition helps growth, right? So they get to compete against the other, highest potential players around Perth, but also they just see the habits of other good players that are around as well, and they can build off of each other that way.
I've learned a lot from my teammates. I really admire that everyone's really unique and different, and it's really inspiring to just watch everyone's different style of play and kind of take in small parts of everyone and develop yourself. Yeah.
We're just playing basketball, right? We got to read each other, but we do have a couple of options. So this opportunity is new this year for these players, and it's a result of the Rio Tinto sponsorship to be able to make this program possible, and it provides great opportunities for these kids.
At a young age, I think it's super important to have a high-level coaching just to set the expectation of what you need to be doing in order to reach your goals or dreams, and then just building the fundamentals up.
We're reading the big, or we're playing the personnel.
It starts with the knowledge stemming down from the Lynx coaching staff. It's experts as well. I mean, as a Lynx player, you get access to strength and conditioning coaches, experts in all sorts of different ways. So those experts can come down and teach the players as well. And then the resources, I mean, we're training in the Perth Lynx facilities, and that's a big privilege. There's been a couple of great successes already from the Lynx Academy. Amihere Fotu and Jaya Scafidi both started and were able to make their case to get development player spots from within the academy. And you saw them in round 5 for the Perth Lynx on the floor playing minutes at the end of the game already in their first year. So really tremendous success.
Scafidi, build it clean.
I think as a coach, and a coach especially of something like this, the pride comes from when you see growth, right? So it's the little things. It's not the big things. It's just little growth day after day.
Let's catch up with Ryan Petrik.
Yeah, busy start of the season, obviously. I think we had 3 in the first week, 4th in 11 days. Again, just trying to get as much in as you can in pre-season. It's a nightmare for a coach because you can't get the training into them. We compare it to like obviously a Formula 1 car on the racetrack. Like we just can't get them into the pits.
Maley looking to push the ledger quickly, happy to drive.
The reality is that we've 7 of the 10 are the same as last year. So it's only putting in the new 3. I guess the challenge for us was Laeticia arrived maybe a week before game 1, and then we were getting her up to speed, and the playbook was built largely around Atwell, and then Atwell went down 2 training sessions before game 1. So again, hence this could go pear-shaped pretty quickly, and then we find ourselves up 30 against Southside at 3/4 time.
Turns, fires with the mid-range J.
They all feel like they've got an uber green light, and most of them do. There's the odd one where like, okay, we don't quite love that one, but players enjoy the fact that they don't have to run an A to B, B to C, C to D. The players enjoy the fact they can just read and react and play. As we saw, they can just go out and hoop.
Lightning, happy to push.
Again, like we're perfectionists as coaches. Like nothing is great. I was saying to Mike, our assistant, after the game the other night, like there's a lot about our offense we don't like. To which he reminded, like we're averaging 92 a game, we're leading the league. Yet we don't like much about at all about how we're playing offense at times. When they're on, they're elite. They're really good defensively. And we spend so much time, people think we spend all our week on offense and nothing on defense. We probably spend 80% of our week on defense and then start poorly most of the time for no apparent reason. In a few games we've finally got it right later in. So like Adelaide took 2 or 3 minutes into the second quarter. We finally started doing it how we wanted, and from there we looked really good. Sydney just didn't do it for the entire half, had to change scheme in the second half. So that's the frustration, whereas Townsville, I think we got it right from the first possession.
Perth pushing it, the red rush.
Most pleasing aspect of the performance is playing that reckless offensively without Atwell. Like again, we always build our offensive scheme around our best player and then our second best and our third best player, and then kind of recruit and fill in the rest to complement that style. But the style of that being that aggressive is built around Atwell and how aggressive Amy is. And she's not out there. And yet we've just continued on. Like Steph Gorman's like, cool, I'll take those shots. I'll shoot those reckless ones, and she's going at 50%. Mila Goodchild, same deal. Like, I'll take over the Amy Atwell role, no problems. So the fact we've been able to replace who we think is one of the best guards in the country so seamlessly has been really, really pleasing.
It's time to meet the Bendat Stadium manager in Team Behind the Team.
For Lynx games, our role is to make sure the stadium's set up properly for them for the next day. Probably about 10 hours set up, with 3 of us doing that, and probably about 10 or 11 hours packing down again at the end of the night, depending on what time people leave the court and what time we can get them out. You guys all good now? I started in September 2015, and the first day that the Lynx started actually. Got everything you need? I think so. Yeah. So this is the home court for the Lynx. They come in here and do most of their training as well. The seating is 2,000 seats. There's about 1,200 on the main stand and 800 in the retractable stand. So we're putting the stoppers down on the stand just to make sure that when the guys are doing the photography, the stand doesn't shake. Coming in now, it'll be setting up, making sure all the front's set up so that we can bring people in an hour and a half before the game. There's security that comes in then. We lock off areas so that only players can go. And then I come in here, make sure the court's set up properly, there's nothing wrong, just do a general inspection. And what we have to do is turn off the scoreboard that's on court 2. The first season that we played here, we had a New Year's Eve game against Townsville and there was 1,500 people here. It was just electric. There was about 700 kids here and they were just going nuts. It was, I think it was 4:30, 5 o'clock game, and the kids just had a wonderful time, and it was, I got a bit excited myself and started revving the crowd up, so that was a bit exciting. But any grand final games are just good. It's a heightened alert for us because there's more people and making sure everyone's safe. And when there's a big crowd, we change it to 100%, pours out more air. People want to feel comfortable here. If they come in and we're angry or we ignore them, well, they're not going to feel comfortable coming in. Some of the players that are now playing for other teams, when they come back, they always come and say hello, and unfortunately they don't bring any baked goods like they used to, but it's, yeah. So I like to make sure it's a welcoming environment for all the players when they come in and say hello to them when they come in every day.
Now we all have our WNBL heroes and special moments. Let's see what some of the other girls have to say.
I think that Lauren Jackson has inspired me throughout my career, obviously being the same position and seeing how she's grown and how she sees herself on court and how she plays is just amazing to see.
Jackson again, size advantage on Reed, and has made a career of that.
I do remember the moment I first saw a WNBL game when I moved to Adelaide. I just remember sort of thinking to myself and turning to my husband like, I could play at this level. Now, I still have, you know, pinch me moments, like walking out of this locker room every day. I try to just take a deep breath and be grateful for being here.
I watched a lot of it was the West Coast Waves back then. I watched a lot of them growing up and came to a lot of the home games, and I don't think there was a particular moment, but I just loved being at all those games and watching those girls at the time and just like wishing that was going to be me one day. So I guess just watching them and kind of coming full circle to that being me.
Yeah, I remember watching Bendigo play when I was younger. And I remember watching Kelly Wilson play, just how hard she went after the ball and yeah, how determined she was to do so well and just how she played.
Watching Rachel Spawn play for the Adelaide Lightning growing up was always that most incredible experience. She was always my favourite player and like such a role model to me. Unfortunately, I was a lot shorter than her, so I was never going to be a centre, but I just loved the way she played. And it turned out to be one of the most influential people in my career. When I was in year 5, I actually wrote her a letter after the Olympics to tell her she was my idol, and you know, I didn't realise our teachers were going to send them off. And I was fortunate enough to not only get a response, but she came into school with her Olympic medals and came and spoke to my whole class and just did a full presentation for us. And then after that, I just kept running into her in all walks of life, which turned out to be really cool and has kind of guided my journey and gave me that inspiration when I was young.
We will return next month with more exclusive, unmatched access to the Perth Lynx.